So why would anybody? This could be one of our motto as well, maybe our slogan. This is not just the question for the beginners. Maybe for people who already in investing, or maybe they looking to invest in something else rather than rent to rent. So why would anybody invest in rent to rent rather than just buy something and own something? Because obviously with rent to rent you don't own the property. There are exclusions as well. So why would anybody invest in rent to HMO rather than buy a HMO?
I think there's a number of reasons for that. So, but mainly it's cash flow, right? So the upfront capital required to set up a rent to an HMO is much lower than actually buying one. And also not just that, but it's also the speed of it, because if anyone's ever tried to rent a house and you also try to buy a house, the difference between the length of the process is unbelievable. Like you can rent a house and within a week you can move in, sign the paperwork, pay over your deposit, pay your rent, and you're in. Try and buy a house in a week. Good luck to you in the UK. That's impossible.
Especially now.
Yeah, well, I think any day, to be honest.
Any day.
You're talking a 10 to 12 week process, because, well, we can go into that in another show. I think
another time. Yeah.
that could be a whole other show of why and who's
we will cover that
process. But it's a very long process, right? So, you know, you could be 3 months before you go anywhere. So, and in that 3 months, if you took on a rent to rent deal, you've probably made back potentially half of your initial investment money, right? And then by the time that if you bought a property, so you know it takes you 3 months to get the house, and you probably need to do refurb to convert it. That's going to take another 3 months. So it take you 6 months if you buy a property. So if you do rent to rent in 6 months, if you've done everything right and you had to do very little investment, you're almost going to be in a position where you're going to pretty much start making profit. Now, that's a pretty compelling story to me, and that's one of the reasons why I've actually chosen it, because you can get to a point of basically making profit, making money quicker. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who say, yeah, but I don't own the property. It's like, no, you don't. That's very true. But the whole idea of this is that you sign a long-term contract, a long-term lease, a long-term rent, whatever you want to call it, anything between 3 to 5 years. So in 3 to 5 years, I'd like to think that you can make a fairly chunky cash out of something that you don't really own. Now, obviously, you have to have a strong contract, but we spoke about this, so you know you can use the right contracts to protect you, you know it's almost as good as owning the property, and then you can do more. So what it also allows you is start building up a portfolio quicker. So you can get to a point when, let's say, in a year's time or a year and a half time, you could be up to 4, 5, 6 of these houses. But if you bought it, by the time you make your money back with your own money, especially, you're going to wait 2, 3 years before you can buy your next property. So it's a cash flow, it's the speed of things. It's a good number of factors why you'd want to do rent to rent. And to be honest, there's people out there who own HMOs and they also do rent to rent because of this reason. So there's a few things in there for me. I don't know, is there anything else that you want to put in there, Peter? Anything you add?
Is it always the case you're never gonna able to own the rent to rent property, or is there any option we can use maybe to
Absolutely, yeah.
to own in the future?
Absolutely. So there are many instances where people negotiated that they take on a property on a rent to rent basis with an option to buy in the end. So then obviously this becomes even a far stronger sort of setup altogether, because yes, you're getting the property so you can get up to a point quicker where you're cash flowing, but also at the end of it you have the ownership of the property as an option. So yeah, absolutely, it's not something that is new. People have done it, and it's certainly something I definitely recommend. If you can negotiate it and the owner of the property is open to that, yeah, absolutely, you should go for it. Yeah.
This is called lease option, if I'm right. So this is the called lease option. When you
Yeah,
lease a property on
it's
3-5 years,
it's not,
and you have option to buy at the end of the term. So by the time you need to put the deposit down, you're gonna make the deposit and even more.
potentially, yes.
Potentially, you buy a free properties.
Yes, if you do it right, yeah, absolutely. You could essentially count it as a free property. Yes, which is not a bad deal.
A lot of people asking, and they say it's not possible and it's not that. I know yourself, myself. We done it before, and without really marketing myself or anything. I just done with my own flat 2 days ago. So I just renewed my rent 3 years, and after the 3 years I will buy my property from my landlord. So before anybody would say it's not possible, it is possible. In any market, especially now when everything is very slow, missing from the market, the missing the 5% deposit from residential mortgage, everything is slow, the valuation is slow, so it's a great opportunity to build up, and you can build up a huge business on rent-to-rent portfolio, and also not just the cash flow, but also the huge experience as like yourself. We've been discussed. Do you agree? This is coming with a huge experience as well, which we can use after to any other property strategy.
Oh, absolutely. I think that was one of the reasons out of many why I've actually chosen it, because yes, you don't just learn the single lets while you're doing this. You learn the single lets, the HMOs, the regulations that come with an HMO. So it's a fast track way of learning about property. So for me, it was it still is a good sort of learning curve, really. So I definitely recommend it. If you want to get in there quick and learn lots sort of quickly, and that is one way of doing it. So definitely, yeah, as a big learning curve for sure. But it's a very valuable learning curve that you can transfer over to other things as well. So it's not something that's just going to be, if I ever do rent to rent, I'm only going to be doing rent to rent. No, that's not like it at all. You learn lots of different things along the way. So I definitely recommend it from that point of view as well.
Yeah, because a lot of people might say, "Oh, rent to rent is not serious. Serious investors don't do rent to rent or stuff like this." I don't believe in this, and that's why we never we didn't give the name for a talk show like rent to rent talk show or anything like that, because it's all about cash flow and all about cash flowing. And you can use rent to rent, build up your cash flow, and after you can choose whichever strategy you want to choose. Also, you can use your experience. You can use not just a cash flow, your experience and the contacts. You build up a huge business on rent to rent, and you can use all the resources because rent to rent is a really creative strategy. And as you mentioned yourself, you literally learn all the strategies, because rent to rent is just a type of the purchase. It's not the strategy as we know. So but you learn a lot of things during the journey.